Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to a Monday edition of the Mark Moses Show podcast here in beautiful Central Florida on the coast. And we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Lavine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Appreciate all the help of Anidjar and Lavine Accident Attorneys. And also another sponsor we are bringing on, great partner of the show, Walk On Sports Bistro there in Viera, home of the $5 Tito's all day, every day. Check out Walk On Sports Bistro right there in Viera. And yes, the NFL draft is right around the corner. We'll work more on that moving forward. Had to get those out of the way because now we got to bring on this fine gentleman. Yes, he is basketball legend, coach, my good friend, Billy Mims, back from San Antonio. We are going to start with him today. Coach, how you doing, buddy?
I'm fantastic, Mark. You know, you and I are blessed. I mean, we live here on the space coast of Florida. It's a beautiful sunny day outside. I'm looking out at the Indian River at the back of my house here and thinking, you know, it might not be a bad day to go for a boat ride.
Well, I'm sorry I'm annoying you with having you on the show when you could be outside with the nice weather. I apologize for that. I've been wanting to wait, 7 days now because it happened last Monday. You were there in San Antonio, the title game, Florida against Houston. One of the craziest finishes I've ever seen to a basketball game. And I have watched the last 2 minutes of that game about 5 times now. And I have watched multiple levels just like you. I mean, little kids, high school, college, NBA, international basketball. Never seen an ending like that. 7 days ago it happened. Gators win by 2. What was it like? I've been wanting to ask you this. What was it like being there in person?
Well, the atmosphere was fantastic. I mean, first off, people thought it would be a home game for the Houston Cougars. Obviously, they're from Texas, and the Houston fan base could easily drive a car over to San Antonio, scalp some tickets, and be in the Alamo Dome. But I tell you, walking around San Antonio, walking around Riverwalk, a couple of days prior to the championship, before the semifinal, Sunday before the final, and even Monday, throughout the day on Monday, my wife and I, we both noticed, we said, there's a lot more blue and orange walking around here. And Hard Rock Cafe right on Riverwalk was the alumni host site for the Gator alumni, I think, for the entire weekend. And throughout the weekend, they had orange and blue balloons blown up all over their balcony, hanging out over the river. And every time you walk by, there was a Tom Petty song playing. So I didn't hear anything like that for Houston throughout the weekend. So even though it was deep in the heart of Texas, as the song says, it was pretty much of a home crowd for the Florida Gators. They had great support there. And I think a lot of Gator fans might have rushed out there after they won the semifinal and bought scalp tickets for the final, which is a lot easier to get tickets to the finals than it is to get tickets to the semifinals. That Gator crowd, and you notice, in honor of the Gators, I have my Florida Gator Championship coaches polo on today.
Ooh, I like
colors it. In honor of the Gators. And you know, my 2 daughters, Courtney and Callie, Gator alumni.
Yeah, you're right, because you have 4 different fan bases for the semifinal. 2 of them are going home. They're trying to sell their tickets. I don't want to go to that title game. Yeah, that does make sense. You were texting me during the game. First, I was amazed you had great cell reception during the championship game. What is there, like 60,000 people in there? Man,
68,000.
Yeah, and you're texting me, and this is what I love about you, and this is why I always appreciate your friendship. During a big game, we'll go back and forth during the big, like, 11-2 run, 14-4 run. We're going back and forth, and you're doing your analysis, and, man, I can't stress this enough. The last 2 minutes of that game, I know it was a week ago, no one scored a field goal. No one scored. Just think about that. 2 minutes ago, no field goals were scored by either team. The only points that were scored were 3 free throws by the Gators. That's the reason they took the lead. That's the reason they won. How crazy was that ending there, Coach?
Crazy is an understatement, right? Crazy is an understatement. We're talking about the Division I college basketball national championship final game, the culmination of March Madness. 68 teams went in now this day, and then there were 2, right? And those 2 got down. It was a knockout battle, blow for blow, right? Houston dominated the first half, had a good lead going into halftime. The Gators came out, and early in the second half, they had an 11-0 run that turned the game around. And once the Gators got that 11-0 run, Houston died. Offensively, they died. I mean, it was interesting to see because the Gators had 3 players in double figures in the game, which isn't a lot, right? That's not a lot. No. Only 3 players. I mean, Condon, the big kid from Australia, had 12, 7 rebounds. He had a good ball game. He had the biggest play of the ball game, diving on the floor to get a piece of that loose ball on that last crazy possession. We'll talk about in a second. But and Richard carried him in the first half. You know that. I mean, going to the locker room at halftime, he was all they had, right?
He was. I can't stress this enough. We've not talked. His 14 points in the first half, gigantic for the team. If he doesn't get those 14, they lose this game by 10. Gigantic.
In the first half, Houston's defense was locked down. It really did bother the Gators, right? They didn't get great looks. And again, let's talk about Walter Clayton Jr., who was the most valuable player of the Final Four, but had a terrible championship game. Okay? Walter Clayton Jr. in the championship game was 3 for 10 field goals, right? Doesn't hit his first field goal till late in the second half. He is 1 for 7 from 3. He has a whopping 11 points in the game. Now, he was a game high 7 assists. So he was distributing the basketball. But then again, they only scored 65 points. So his assists didn't really carry them to a great game. His offense hurt them because he couldn't make shots. So there's a guy that had 34 points in the semifinal, carried him on his back, put his Gator teammates on his back, and carried them single-handedly to the national championship game. And then he laid an egg. He did not have a great championship game. He wasn't their leading scorer. He was their 3rd leading scorer. And you know why they won the game? I'm not even going to put it down. And as much as I'm happy for the Gators, I'm not going to be the guy to jump on the bandwagon and say, Gators won. They outplayed. They won. No, they won the game because Houston showed up even less in the second half than Walter Clayton showed up in the first half. Houston's offense died. They only had, I said a moment ago, the Gators had 3 players in double digits, right? Houston had 1, L.J. Cryer. Their best player on their team, L.J. Cryer, he showed up to play. He had 19 points in the game, was 4 for 11 from 3, 6 of 18 overall, 6 rebounds, 19 points. He showed up to play, Mark. If L.J. Cryer had gotten some help from the rest of his team, then the Cougars would be the national champions.
We're here with Billy Mims. He's back from San Antonio. He had a great time. I think he had to fly to Atlanta, then back here. I think that's what happened, which is it's not bad. It's a better experience than when you were in New Orleans. Then you weren't sure if you were going to get back to Florida a couple years ago. I think the last 4 possessions for Houston, I think they're all turnovers. The last like couple possessions, they didn't get a shot off.
No.
And they lost by again. If I would have told you Monday morning, you're getting up for that game. Okay. Clayton, who you just brought up, would score 11 points. 11. The Gators would not score with 2 minutes to go. You'd be like, oh, well, they're going to lose. You would have gone to Vegas and put money down okay, Houston's going to win. You're right. If Houston, all they had to do, hit some bunnies, hit some layups with 5 minutes ago. Does that sum up, Coach? No one could handle Florida for 40 straight minutes. Houston put up a great fight. UConn put up a great fight. Texas Tech. But the 40-minute grind, no one could figure out Florida. Is that what it was?
Well, I mean, I would like to say yes and give them a little bit of credit on that. I hate that. I always hate to – I never like to throw another coach under the bus. You know that.
Yeah.
But I'm really struggling with the last 2 minutes. Like you said, 4 straight turnovers, right? And again, Florida was playing great defense. I will give them credit there, okay?
Yeah.
Great defense in the second half by the Gators. But I'm never 100% sold that it's all one way, that it's a one-way ship, wow, Florida didn't defend well in the first half, but they played great D in the second half, and that turned the tide. I think it's a two-way street always. Florida played better defense in the second half, but Houston also did a terrible job in the second half of running offensive sets, of moving the basketball, of creating good looks for their best shooters. Houston's offense died in the second half. And I'll say this, Florida did defend well, Mark, but Houston made it easy to defend them. They weren't really doing a lot creatively to get good looks for their best shooters. They didn't get the ball inside. They didn't finish when they did go inside. They took contested shots from the outside. Their spacing was poor. Their screens were poor. They didn't get guys open for great looks. I thought both teams offensively over that last 2 minutes was about the ugliest 2 minutes of Division I college basketball offensively I may have seen in my entire career.
We're Billy Mims recapping the Gators win the national title. It was 7 days ago. It feels like it was 7 months ago. That's how my brain and sports works. All right, last play, 19 seconds to go. You're there in the building. My gut, just my love of the game of basketball, my gut is saying they're going for the 3. I don't know why. I just, right when and I think I texted you, I said, they're going for the 3. Out of the timeout, 19 seconds. They're down 2 points. My thought is, okay, and I know we talked semifinal. Now this is for the championship. All right, you're coming out of timeout. You're down 2 points. You got 19 seconds. Get a shot up as quickly as possible. So if you miss, hey, maybe we can get a rebound or something. But I thought, no, they're going for the 3. They're going to go for the bleep you type play. I'm trying to keep this family friendly. We're going to go for 3. We're going to say, take that. We're going to win our first title. And they set up for a 3, and the defense was better. But with what you were just saying, what did you think of the offensive just game plan with 19 seconds to go?
I thought they really, again, I'm sitting there talking to my wife and other people around us as that timeout took place. And I'm thinking, this is the day of NIL, right? Yeah. So you got probably 5 millionaires on the court. You got a multi-million-dollar coach, veteran coach, and, Kelvin Sampson, certainly Hall of Fame quality coach. Yeah. Veteran, great job everywhere he's ever been. He's going to be a Hall of Famer at some point. So you got millionaire players on the court. You got a Hall of Fame multi-millionaire coach in the huddle. You've got 17 assistant coaches, all paid good money. I'm joking when I say 17, but there's a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
And they're all paid good money to help Kelvin Sampson make the decision of a lifetime right here. I'm sitting there, I almost want to get my pen out my pocket, get the back of my program, and get ready to draw this up because I think, man, this is going to be the greatest play I've ever seen. That had to be the worst timeout in the history of college basketball because communication from whatever they wanted to do in that timeout to what they did over those 19 seconds, Mark, in the front court. You have your entire playbook open. It's not like you got 3 seconds. Hey, we got to run this special play because we only have 3 seconds. 19 seconds. Your entire playbook is available to you. You have to have a go-to play, a bread and butter call that in this situation gets you a shot. You got to get a look to have a chance. Now, you not only need to get a look, but in 10 to 12 seconds, you should be able to get a shot, and you should be able, if you miss that shot, to have time to get an offensive rebound and a putback. You have all of that available in those 19 seconds, Mark. And guess what? They come out of that huddle, and I know what you said. I'm sure there's a lot of people there that said they're going to shoot the three. They're going to shoot the three. I disagree completely. Houston rode a bus to that game, right? From Houston to San Antonio. They went by bus. They are still in the state of Texas. They're still eating the same food they eat all year in the state of Texas. The Gators got on an airplane, and they left beautiful, sunny Florida for dry, humid Texas, right? They get there. So even if the crowd is 50-50, I'm still thinking this is a home game for the Houston Cougars in this moment, in this 19-second moment. Coaches throughout my career have said, if you're at home and you're down 2, you play for the tie. Let's play 5 more minutes in our house. Let's play 5 more minutes in Texas, right? Let's clean this thing up over 5 more minutes. Houston are in the double bonus. If they drive it to the bucket and get some contact, they're shooting 2 free throws. They tie the game up. They lock down defensively. We play 5 more minutes. And I'm sure at this point, every fan, 67,000 plus in the Alamo Dome, was saying, let's tie it. Let's see 5 more minutes of this game. These 2 juggernauts battle it out 5 more minutes. But we didn't get that. There was no attacking the basket. I thought they were better off to spread the floor, spread it out, bring their best player, Crier, off of a screen for a good look if he's open, or spread it so he comes off that screen and can attack downhill. Something like a Spain offense, which is a pick and roll lift situation. So you're coming off attacking the basket, then you're getting a back screen for the post that set the screen to roll to the opposite side of the basket or roll to the rim, and the screener steps out. So if you've got nothing at the rim, you can now collapse the defense and kick it back out for a great look at that three. But you've got 19 seconds to investigate all of that, to come off some sort of screen, to get downhill, to try and get a great look at the basket, get fouled, or collapse floor as D and have your 3 best shooters still sitting out there on the arc for a wide open 3. Nah, Houston didn't do that. It looked like a pickup game in those last 19 seconds.
Yeah, that's a great analysis. I apologize if the stream was going down there for a second. Coach is awesome. We're podcasting all this, by the way. Later today, you can check it out, markmosesshow.com. We're here with Billy Mims. You're right. 19 seconds ago, I think 3 different Houston players touched the ball. No one got a shot off. Look, I have timeout. I think it's that bad. I'm sorry I got to go there, but you didn't get a shot off. They're going to eat that for the next 50. They don't foul. I know you teach. You've been teaching for a long time. You're up 2 points. You said they're in the double bonus. If you were Todd Golden, what are you thinking? Like, do not foul them under any circumstance? What's going on, Coach?
Well, I'm also thinking, number 1, contest every 3, run them off the line, okay? Because the only thing that can beat you, if you're Todd Golden, the only thing that can beat the Gators in this situation, Mark, is an uncontested 3. So, 1, you crowd the arc, run them off the line. Number 2, you don't foul the 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
Because an open 3 can beat you, or 3 free throws can beat you. So don't foul the jump shooter, right? Run them off the line, make them drive the basketball, contest everything you got at the basket. But if you do foul them going to the basket, it better be a really good foul because you don't want to give up an and one at the basket. That could beat you too. So contest the drive, make them have a tough contested drive. If you foul them, they better not get the shot off in the paint, and do not foul the shooter on the arc, right? Do not foul a guy shooting a three. If they're going to beat you shooting a three, it's got to be a contested three. Make sure you got a hand in their face. Contested three. They better beat you with a tremendous three over a 6'10" guy with a hand in their face. But do not foul them. They miss an ugly shot and you give them 3 free throws to beat you. So I'm sure Todd Golden was telling his team, let's run them off the arc, force them to drive, contest the drive, do not foul the shooter at the last minute.
I still don't believe what happened. I've seen it like 5 times. Gators win by 2. Okay, so you're there at the arena. I imagine your reaction was like, what? Huh? And all of a sudden, oh, Gators win. I mean, was there kind of this confusion?
Well, the very last play, everybody stood on their feet. Now, we didn't need to where we were. We had some pretty good seats and a good view. But you know what? 19 seconds to play, the game on the line. The entire Alamo Dome stood to their feet. So everybody's on their feet watching that last play, expecting to see something as I diagrammed a minute ago. Some great drive, great finish at the basket, right? An attempted block by the Gators, maybe a great game-saving block shot at the rim, or, Mark, collapsing the D and a kick, wide open 3, big shot, Houston goes nuts. We were expecting something like that. A game-saving block by the Gators, a big-time game-winning 3 on the perimeter, or drive and over a contested guy at the rim for Houston to tie it and send it to overtime. A, B, C, take your pick. All 3 of those would have been better than what we got, right? What we got was an ugly 19-second pickup game. No shot was attempted. You got the national championship. And look, I do have the experience of playing in national championship games, coaching national championship games. In my pro career overseas, I won 7 of these. The very last one I won was against Chris Finch, who's now the head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I was coaching a team in Leicester. He was coaching a team in Sheffield, England. We went head-to-head in the championship. And, you know, the thought that kept going through my mind in that championship, Mark, just as it had in the previous 6 championships I'd won, national championship games, that was the 7th that I won in my career. But every time you coach in a national championship game, you savor the moment. You think, today's got to be the best day of my life. I've got to make the best decisions. I've got to be the best motivator ever. I've got to read the game, the situation. I've got to make the best adjustments. I've got to listen to my assistant coaches. I've got to read what's happening on the court with my players, listen to my players who are out there playing the game, understand what they're seeing in the flow of the game. But you do all of that, Mark, because you have this one great fear that you may never be in this moment again. It takes so much to get to a national championship game. It takes health, it takes talent, and it takes a lot of luck. You got to be healthy. Your best players have got to be healthy. You can't get there without your best players. Once you get there, you better have the talent to win it. And number 3, you better be a little bit lucky, right? And for all those things to come together to get you there and to win that championship, as a coach, you fear you may never be in that moment again. All of those things just might. Look at Kelvin Sampson. How much longer is he going to coach? You know, he's one of he would have been, I think, the oldest coach to win the national championship game. So there's part of me that says, I know that he'll forever see those final 19 seconds when he has a nightmare. He's going to wake up in the middle of the night, seeing that ball rolling across the court, knowing they had 19 seconds to get some kind of shot off, and they failed.
Look, there's so much pressure in that situation. They're really, I mean, this is the highest level. And you can hindsight, hey, maybe you do touch the ball, so then it's a travel, it's a turnover. Then maybe you foul and he hits one. I mean, there's so many scenarios. I feel bad for Houston. I do. And I will say this to you. I've said this all week. I love this. Seeing them all season long. I don't think they're an all-time great champion. They're the champions this year, but they're very lucky because if there was last year's UConn team, I think they get hammered. If some of the great champions of years past, they would have lost. But that didn't happen. It's kind of like the multiple great movies and one has to win. Then we have like this year with the Nora, where it was a terrible movie, but they gave him the best picture. That's what happens. I'm just happy you were there. I'm very happy. Like, I'm not jealous. I'm happy you were there because I think you saw one of the great Final Fours of all time, the two great semifinals and the title game. And I think of all the great just coaching plays that happy you went. Are you happy you went to San Antonio?
Oh, I think it was my 27th or 28th Final Four that I've attended, Mark. And even the ones that are blowouts, I hate to say it, you know, it's such a great atmosphere. It's such a great environment. You are talking four of the best teams in the country to navigate March Madness, to get there. Four great fan bases. I guess the one thing I missed this time, and maybe you'll never see again in this day and age of transfer portal and NIL and the millions of dollars. On average, I saw a text the other day. I might have sent it to you. I saw a post on social media talking about now to have a quality team, it takes $10 million.
I think I messaged you.
NIL money, right? So here's my point. Will we ever see a true Cinderella ever again? I mean, now it's about money. How can a low major or mid-major Division I ever think that they're going to get enough talent on the floor without being able to, you know, toss up 6 figures or 7 figures of NIL money to their best player? So I think this year was a chalk tournament. It really was. There were far less upsets in this tournament than ever before. And 4 number 1 seeds get to San Antonio. It was a chalk tournament, right? It lacked Cinderella. And that's something I think we're going to miss going forward in this new day and age of college basketball. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I was so happy to be here and watch it. I would have liked a better 19 seconds. And to be honest, after it all went down that way, and not taking anything away from the great season that Houston had, if Duke doesn't really just die in the last few minutes of their game, right? If they can get the ball in bounds and hang on to it and get fouled and make free throws, I think we would have saw a much more exciting championship game between Florida and Duke. And I say that because both of those teams are high-powered offenses. Yes, they do play tough defense as well, but both of those teams, Florida and Duke, have tremendous talent that can score the basketball. Houston was a great defensive team, a team built on toughness and defense. And we get a 65-63 championship game, grinded out defensive display. But if you watch the NBA, which I know you do, Mark, if you watch the NBA now is about scoring 140 points in a game. You know, offense sells tickets, right? That's what the NBA has bought into. Offense sells tickets. defense may win championships. In this year, we saw two great defensive performances by both in the championship final, making it probably one of the best defensive college basketball finals you're ever going to see. But wouldn't it have been just as exciting if Duke and Florida had played and the final was 98-97, one way or the other, and it was an up and down offensive high octane game? I think the crowd would have enjoyed that kind of performance even better than this 40 minutes of defensive intensity, toughness, and low scoring, to the point that even the final last 4 possessions of the game for Houston, Florida's defense forced turnover, 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 turnover. That's not pretty basketball. And the final 19 seconds for a national championship, Florida's defense doesn't even give Houston a great look. A Florida fan is excited. What a job. Defense won that championship. 19 seconds, we shut them down. But a nonpartisan fan at that game, watching at home on TV or sitting in the 67,000 plus crowd, would have liked to have seen a shot go up, and maybe a game-winning shot or a game-winning block or a game-winning rebound, and deciding it that way. But as it was 19 seconds of just grind it out, ugly, tough, hard-nosed basketball. It was a great championship win for the Gators, but not the prettiest championship in NCAA history.
I agree with you 100%. I do. And they won. And it was like every Gator fan is like, man, my heart medication. Even if they're not on heart medication, they were after that tournament. Okay, you're absolutely right. Before I let you go, and I appreciate coming on. We're here with Billy Mims. He is a great, great friend of mine. He's got over 600 wins, by the way. Is that correct? 600?
That's correct. Getting close to 700. So
I know.
The next stop in the journey for me, we hopefully are going to be celebrating another big number because, I can't quit now. I'm too close to 700 to walk away.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And yes, he's joining me here on the Anidjar and Lavine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. We also want to thank, one of our new sponsors, Walk On Sports Bistro. They're in Vieira, home of the $5 Tito's all day, every day. Check them out. Walk-Ons in Vieira. Okay. Did you buy a bunch of swag when you left? What happened exactly, Coach?
Well, I got a little bit. I can't spoil Christmas for some people, but
okay.
Remember, I got 2 Gator grad daughters, so I thought maybe, just maybe, I might need to pick up something that will remind them the championship success of their alma mater.
Okay, no spoilers. We won't spoil anything. We won't do that.
I bought my son a Final Four cap because he likes to wear baseball caps now, especially when he goes fishing. So I got a baseball cap Final Four for my son and my dad, and I got a few pieces of the court to bring back. One's got your name on the back of it, 4 Mark noses.
Oh, thank you. Do you go to the team store and be like, excuse me, I have over 600 basketball wins. What's my do I get a 600% discount? What do you do?
Hey, I saw Jay Bilas getting some swag, and I don't think he got a discount either.
No. We got to make money here with this NIL. We got to make – the funny thing what you said, I think I sent you that thing where it's like, all right, you got to pay this much for a starting point guard, this much for a center, this for the – and my what I'm reply to you was, what does the coach get? Do they still get salaries? You know what I mean?
Hey, well, what about – look at football this year.
Yeah.
A couple of the big-time head coaches at Power 4 schools took pay cuts to fund the NIL money. So, I mean, that's kind of crazy, just talking about that, thinking about that. But there are big-time Power 4 coaches that now they're going to take – I'll tell you, can I have time for one quick story? So
he took some of his money from his salary to go to
yes,
NIL. He did
yes.
stuff off UCF. All right, what's your story, buddy?
Just a quick story here. I was at a coaching clinic a few years ago, and one of the speakers at the clinic was the great Dick Vitale, right? Absolute wonderful guy, Mr. Enthusiasm, right? If you remember, and I'm sure you do because you're a sports junkie, Dick Vitale coached in the NBA.
Yeah.
He was the head coach of the Detroit Pistons at one point in time, right? He was at the clinic telling all us coaches this, and he said, I knew it was time to get out of the NBA. When we were going on a trip to play, I think we were going out Detroit for a West Coast swing. So I got to the airport, checked my bags. I went to get on the flight. And back in those days, we didn't have the jetway. So I walked across the tarmac. I walked up the stairs to board, like the president boards Air Force One. I walked out to board the charter flight for the Detroit Pistons to go to play out on the West Coast. As I get on board the plane, I'm walking through first class, and I see my point guard on the right. Hey, coach, how are you? My center on the left. Hey, coach, how are you? Go to row 2, and I've got a couple of forwards there. Go to row 3, and I've got a couple of more players. Go to row 4, and I've got my best backups there. But I look at my ticket. I don't have a seat in first class. I'm at the back of the plane. All of my team were in first class. I'm at the back of the plane. It was time for Dick Vitale to get out of the NBA, right? I guarantee you, Mark, in college basketball in the Power Four, there's going to be a few coaches doing the Dick Vitale shuffle to the back of the plane because those $1 million babies are going to be sitting in first class.
I thought of you when I really, really thought of you. You were there at the stadium. When I watched the halftime show and the post-game show, and they're just half-assing it. I'm sorry. It's bad. And I'm like, get Coach on there. I'll host, Coach, because I want to start yelling. Why aren't you doing this? What about this? And there's just this like, oh, well, and I'm like, what is going on? And I'm sorry. It's like Charles Barkley, and I love him, and I met him as a kid. Barkley's on there. The game's over. He's still talking about Auburn. No one gives a damn about Auburn. Okay? And then the next morning, if I'm going to do this, next morning I turn on Sports Center. Jay Billis comes on. I'm sorry, not Jay Billis. Jay Williams, who went to Duke. He's like, well, Duke should have done this. Yeah, Duke should have done that. They didn't. They lost. Big loser. You lost. Chomp, chomp. That's what it should be. I'm just like, get Coach on there. That's my highest praise for you. Because I know if you were on there, you'd be yelling, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Like, I'm trying to think, like, remember Mark Packer? Is that who I'm thinking of? Is that the
Billy
one?
Packer.
I'm sorry, Billy Packer.
Billy Packer.
He was like a Simon Cowell type guy on the call, where he would call it, we need some more of that in analysis of basketball. We do. I'm sorry.
I agree completely. You can't go on, if you're paid to be an analyst or a commentator, you can't go on and just say nice things about everybody. That's anybody sitting at home can do that. You actually have to come and bring some of your experience, some of your know-how, and you have to question situations. Now, nobody's trying to put a target on somebody's back, but again, you do have to sit back and say, because I guarantee you this, Mark, you and I are talking about those last 19 seconds and what we would have, should have, could have done if we'd been Kelvin Sampson. All of America was talking about those 19 seconds. 68,000 people in the Alamo Dome were stunned when it ended and go, what did I just witness there? What happened? Hey, what took place in that last timeout? Because it didn't look like they had a timeout when they got on the floor. It looked like roll the ball out and hope for the best. So, again, I think the world of Coach Kelvin Sampson. He's a great coach, did a great job this year.
I did too.
But those last 19 seconds are up for debate. I don't care who you are. Those are up for debate because there was a lot of things that could have happened and none of them did. It was ugly. Florida got the win. They deserved the win for the way they shut down Houston in the second half. And their halftime comeback and that early 11-0 run was great. And the fact that their best player, Walter Clayton Jr., was having an awful game, an absolutely awful game. They survived. I'm going to tell you this, like you said a moment ago. If I had told you this going into the championship final, that the Florida Gators were only going to score 65 points on Monday night, that Walter Clayton Jr., their best player, was only going to score 11 points in the game and not even hit his first field goal until the second half. And only 3 of their players were going to turn up and score in double figures. Would you have bet your house on the Florida Gators?
No, I would not have. No. I'm like, what? No way. Okay. All right. We went 40 minutes on this, and I appreciate you coming on. Can you, I know you're a busy, man. We have to talk NBA playoffs. I know it kind of starts. It kind of starts this week. I know the Magic play tomorrow, but
what is it called? Wait, it's
play-in.
Play-in games.
Play-in.
What is this play-in crap? Right? I mean, come on. What are we, like baseball's wild card teams now are just NBA play-in teams? Come on. I'm old school. Put the best 8 teams in both conferences, have a tournament, let's play ball.
I agree. Look, the Magic have the 7th seed. They earned it. But there's a scenario where they could lose 2 games and not make the playoffs. That could happen.
And why would the 10th place team at this point in time deserve to still be playing basketball? I'm sorry. If you are in 10th place in your division, you should be what? Let's go back to Charles Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
You should be gone fishing.
Yeah, you're not kidding around. All right, let's do that later in the week. Hopefully the Magic beat the Hawks tomorrow. We'll find out. Coach Mims, thank you so much for recapping your trip to San Antonio, and I'll talk to you later. All right, man?
Always a pleasure, Mark.
All right, great stuff. Always love talking to Coach Mims. He is the man, and we'll get him on again. And, yeah, we are broadcasting live here from the Anidjar and Lavine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. I also want to thank Walk On Sports Bistro in Vieira, home of the $5 Tito's all day, every day. We will let you go. We're going to hear from Andrew Spivey, Gator Country. I'm going to post that here very, very soon. Check out MarkMoseyShow.com. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the Mark Mosey Show.